Right, let me take down my building blocks that are here. I just thought, before we got started on today's projects, I'd just share with you a project that I've literally just finished photographing and editing, ready to go on a blog post at lunchtime today. So there we are. This, I shall make sure that this is linked into the group as well, and you'll also see this elsewhere. So this is a Snowflake arrow card, so I'll put some instructions on my blog post that I'll link here as to how you create an arrow card. So there we are, a bit of a bonus project today, due to a blog hop I'm doing elsewhere. But let's come back to today and we'll get started. Hopefully you will all find your way here eventually when you're ready to watch. Just going to get rid of a bit of my dried glue off of my silicone mat. So I was using my mat to stick my snowflakes down. So, oh, Mr. Brown, that's exciting. Oh, I haven't brought my cleaner in. Let me get that. Mr. Brown delivery at the door. We have a very jolly Mr. Brown at the moment. Oh no, wonder why you can't find me, Jackie. I thought I'll tag you and then hopefully I will pop up for you. There's rather a lot of water in that, isn't there? So let's throw it out the back door. Away any creatures just outside the back door blocked with water. It's very puzzling as to why it's so difficult to find these Facebook Lives. I don't quite know what's going on, but hopefully the fact that I'm tagging you means that it gives you a bit of a guide as to where to find them. But hello for now. So that was to say that there was a bit of a bonus flash of a project there, but I shall link to that blog post later anyway when that goes live at lunchtime, with some instructions on how to create an arrow card. Here are my little laminated instructions on how to create an arrow card. But let's start thinking about let's start thinking about today's cards. I obviously just like to hide from you, Jackie. I do apologise. Not sure why that is. Right, so today let's find our dies. That feels as if it's got half a ton of glitter on it. Let's give that a wipe. I'm sure it's not glitter, it'll be embossing powder, but it means it won't stick very well. So here I've got my two little dies that we used, stamps that we used in the scrapbook page, and we're going to be using those again this morning along with some of the other little snowflakes, because I thought we'd start off with doing a bit of stamping with the snowflakes that haven't necessarily got dies to go with them, because I don't think we've necessarily played with those very much yet. So today is the day. Let us take a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to find lots of thick Whisper White. Just want an oddment of Whisper White. So let's have a look. So I'm going to cut this. Is that not? Yeah, that's more than 9.5. I'm going to cut it to 13.9. by 9.5. That's how that I lose stamps sometimes, is because they, particularly the photopolymer ones, stick to the back of the trimmer if you put it on top of them. So I'm looking at the stamps here that we haven't necessarily used because they don't have dies to go with them. So at the moment we've used the ones that we stamp and die cut, but these are the ones that don't necessarily have dies to go with them. So that one has a die. 2, 3, those 3 don't, and this one doesn't. Okay, so let's have a bit of a play with these ones. And what I'm going to do is a bit of sort of two-tone stamping. So not just stamping with one colour, but stamping with 2. So let's grab our inks. We're also going to want to find some of our sponge daubers. So there's a Misty Moonlight one. And necessarily want, yeah, I might want the Highland Heather. Let's get the find a Highland Heather sponge. Soxy Foam, Balmy Blue. I don't think we'll want the Balmy Blue, but we'll grab it in case we do. Highland Heather. Pool Party. And then from out of this one we'll get Pacific Point. That's the one we want. Okay, so I've got this snowflake here, and I'm going to start and I'm going to ink it up with, let's go with Pool Party. I forget that my Pool Party ink is sort of, I keep trying to glue it back in, getting a bit old, needs a bit of love. So we've put the paler colour directly onto the stamp. I'm now going to take my Pacific Point dauber and pick this up and just add in some Pacific Point on the sort of ends of these snowflakes. Let's bring in our mat. And let's stamp that so we have this beautiful two-tone snowflake. Why have a one-tone when you could have a two-tone? I'm going to do another one of those, I think. So let's add a bit more Pool Party, and obviously each one is going to be, like every snowflake, individual. No worries, Bonnie, I just tagged everybody so that they'll be able to find it, because I know that sometimes people have problems. There we go. So we have 2 with the Pool Party Pacific Point snowflakes. What shall we go for next? Let's take some of these little ones. Do this one, I think, in that up in balmy blue. I haven't got my Highland Heather pad. Is it in here, or have I put it back on my shelf? I need to put it back on my shelf. Yes, I did. I'm going to take the Highland Heather, which is this one. And let's add in just some spots of Highland Heather in here. Beautiful. Got an extra blob on there, don't know where that's come from. And I'm going to do another one of these, I think. Let's clean that one up. Let's come with this one. And let's go Coastal Cabana. And then I'm going to grab my Misty Moonlight. Might put a bit of a blob in the middle on that one. Yes. So Coastal Cabana, Misty Moonlight, bit of a blob in the middle, and once more with feeling. Beautiful. Right, we've had that one, we've had that one, no, we've had that one, it's this one we haven't had. Okay, so what colours shall we have for that one? I think I'm going to go in with Highland Heather base, and I might go back to Pacific Point because it will look very different on the purple than it did on the pool party. So let's ink that up in Highland Heather. Let's find our Pacific Point. Put a few blobs of that on there. So it's actually just almost toned down the purple rather than added blue. So just random splodges on there. I'm going to do one more down here and possibly a bit of one sneaking over there. Let's have one that side, and then we'll just have a bit sneaking in over there. So there we are. We've now got this background of these beautiful multicoloured snowflakes. Those are really pretty. colour to pick out for our background. I might go Highland Heather actually. Have I got some Highland Heather cardstock in there? No. Let's find a bit from over here. Yes, I do like that. I think I'm going to make a card base out of Highland Heather. I'm going to cut that at 14.9. Score it at 10.5. What's a different colour mat underneath it? That looks better. So it wants to be pool party. Let's see. We've got a bit of pool party. We can make a mat for that. So let's cut that at 10 by 14.4. We'll make up that background like that. We'll want a nice tag on there. I think I'm going to go the thank you so much. So there's that circle, and let's take a scalloped circle to go underneath it. So the scalloped circle I'm going to cut from this pool party piece just here. So I'll chop that out of the middle. Like that. And a little bit of whisper white card here, that's perfect. So let's take that thank you so much, and I think we'll do that in Highland Heather. Keep going with those two colours and make sure I bring it in far enough from the edge that we can get the dye around it. This would make quite a nice thank you card to send out after Christmas. So you've got a bit of a festive feel about it, but not in your face Christmassy. Might also be a card you want to send out later in the week, because there is rumours that we might see some snow. Particularly, I think anybody up in the Highlands, up in Scotland, up in the north of England, are probably very likely to see some snow. So it could be a thinking of you stuck in the snow card. Thank you so much for getting me out of the snow card. So many good reasons to send a card. Right, let's pop that onto that pool party layer, and then we'll pop that onto our Highland Heather card base. Obviously we could do a insert with a couple of little snowflakes on as well. And to take a little circle and some Stamping Seal Plus, and we'll give a bit of we'll have a bit of a swoosh of the ribbon going on. find my ribbon scissors. Snip. And some dimensionals. Take those backs off. Thank you so much. I don't really want to hide completely those. Where are we going to go? How about just there? And we can just add in, if I can find them. They can't be far away because I had them just now. I'm getting lots of bits of paper now in my Lilypad Snowflake box. Could do with a bit of a sort out. That perhaps will be a job for later. So have we still got the... I was going to put... I can see them. I'm going to put a couple of sparkly bits on. Here they are. Here they are. So let's just go with the slightly darker ones, because that will pick up that slightly darker shading in those snowflakes there. So there we go, some multi-tonal snowflakes. Thank you so much. So that's card number 1. Let's just pop some of these things back in the basket so we know where to find them. And then we'll go on to card number 2. That's the one with the flowers. It's the one with the little star shape in the middle. There's our greeting, and that greeting. There's that snowflake. I'm still missing a couple of snowflakes. I'm sure they'll come to light in just a second. Right. Oh, there's one. One potato. So it's just that one that's gone walkabouts. We'll find that in a minute. I'm sure it won't be far away. It'll be stuck to the bottom of something. Right, card number 2. So for this card, I'm going to start... Let's stick with our Highland Heather, I think. I'm going to take my Highland Heather and I'm going to cut it to 5 inches square. Then I'm going to take my ruler and a pencil, knock you about a bit, and I'm going to measure half an inch on all four sides. What I want to create in the end is sort of, so those two meet just there. I want to create a sort of pencil box, an inner pencil box that is now 4.5. Let's bring that in, so that will go from there to there. So we can see now where those boxes meet. So I'm just going to be able to draw a faint pencil box there, and there, and there. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to measure in half an inch from the edge of this first pencil box to make a second half-inch pencil box. That was a good guess. And half an inch. So let's again join up with a faint line our inner pencil box. I'm going to bring my trimmer in now. And what I'm going to do is lining up these lines in my groove just here. So I could have done this without measuring it really, but it just is knowing where to start and stop. So I can line my groove up on the end of my trimmer with that line just here and score up that line until we get to that line just there. So if I bring it round from this line here down to that line here, bring it round from that line here to that line here and bring it round. So if your lines are a little bit out, this is where your trimmer is going to help you to bring those back into line. And now we're going to want the same, so this time I'm lining it up at 1 inch on here, because obviously 2.5 inches is 1 inch, but just going from this line to this line again and scoring that box. One of these was a bit wonky by the look of it, but there we go. Now what I am going to do is I am going to cut. So I'm going to line these up so that the 2 points are sitting in the groove, but I'm not going to cut all the way. I want to cut from this corner to this corner. Ooh. So it's coming there. I might have to come back in with my scissors and snip the last little bit, and then we'll come this way, line those points up and cut from this corner to this corner. That wasn't far off, so you might just have to finish that off. So now what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to rub out those pencil marks. And then I'm going to fold that down, and I'm going to fold it back in to create a sort of cradle. So fold it back, fold it in, and you can play about with all sorts of different sizes on these. You can make great big ones that go into box frames, but we've created a box type card just there. Well, I'm going to grab, oh no, actually I'm going to grab a bit of Whisper White card from down here. I'm going to create, so our outer frame just there is 5 inches. I'm going to create a 5-inch card base. I could make it 6 inches, and actually what I might do is make it 14.9 square, because that's the biggest size I can get actually out of a piece of A4 in terms of square. So let's do that. Let's cut it at 14.9 and score it at 14.9. Then that will give us a border on our card like that. So this bit is 5 inches. That centre panel is going to be 4. So I'm going to find myself another piece of Highland Heather cardstock. Put myself a little. Actually, no, I'm not. Scrap that thought. I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock and create a 4-inch square. Because I want that 4-inch square to sit in there, and we're going to be able to glue that in, and then that will then hold everything together and quite nice and firm. But I want a white base on, white back on there. So let's stick that in place. So we started off with a 5-inch square Highland Heather. This piece of Whisper White is a 4-inch square that's sitting in the middle. And this is 1/2 inch, and then you've got these little triangles, and we just want to make sure that those are all sitting upon the edge of that card like that. And then that's all going to sit on the front of our 14.9 card base like that. Right. Now going to got a piece of balmy blue here. I think that will do the trick. So I'm going to cut a piece of balmy blue cardstock that is also 4 inches square. Not a lot of point in that, you might say to yourself, because it's the same size as the one underneath. But we are going to cut this snowflake out of this. So this is the one that cuts into the cardstock and doesn't cut the snowflake out. So we're going to be able to see, when we put that in there, we're going to have white cardstock peeping out underneath as our snowflake. So let's line that up and let's cut that snowflake out. Get a pokey and poke these pieces out. Should have a foam mat somewhere. I wonder where that has gone. That's very bizarre. Where oh where has my little foam mat gone? We'll use our piercing mat for now then. You do get a little mat with your tool. In fact, you get 2. I do have a spare one somewhere. So there we are, we've taken out all of our bits out of there. We're going to stick that in our card like that, and then that white snowflake is going to pop out from in there. Put it in, not put any glue on, and it doesn't want to come out. Can you come out, please? No, I'm going to stick it straight on. I was just wondering whether I wanted to put some dimensionals and sort of create almost a bit of shadow behind, but no, I think I'm going to stick this layer straight on. And then we're going to start layering up some snowflakes on top. So let's take our other dies. We're going to want that one, and we'll have that one, and we'll have this little one here. I could do with might go for this one as well. Now this one we're going to need to stamp, so perhaps we'll do a little bit of sponging like we did before. So let's go with this snowflake here, this big snowflake here. And I'm going to ink it up with balmy blue, and I'm going to sponge it with Highland Heather. So I'm going to need a bit of Whisper White cardstock. Let's ink that up. Let's take our Highland Heather dauber. And the nice thing about doing this box frame is we are going to be able to build this up beautifully, because we've already got the depth there. Really, it's already going to be a card that you're going to have to pop in a box or whatever, or at least make a box slope for it. So there we go, there's our multicoloured tonal snowflake. So we're going to want that die to cut that out. Rid all the little bits of my mat. Now I think we're going to want a bit of, going to need a bit of the shimmer of the glimmer card, aren't we? Absolutely need a bit of glimmer card in there. So let's see if we can find. Any little bits, so we'll cut a piece of this. So we're going to have our stamped, we're going to have some glimmer card. I think we'll do a bit of Highland Heather in there, so let's cut a Highland Heather one. And then the top one, I think I might go back to white. So let me line up the snowflake that is stamped. Because I've got all the snowflakes on there, I'm going to wind it back again, just because with that many snowflakes spreading out the pressure on the machine, might be that it needs that second run, but they're all looking good. So we're going to have that layer. And then you're going to have wiggle this one out and turn it over because it's easier. So it's gently wiggling it because they are very delicate, and we don't want to tear their little snowflake arms off if we can possibly help it. So let's take the centerpieces out of there. And then we've got a glittery blue. And somewhere we've got a Highland heather. Finishing with a whisper white. Hi Bonnie. And we'll have a little bit of a gem going in the middle of there as well. So we're going to build those up. Think about what greeting we want. I think I might go May Your Season Sparkle. Have that sort of coming down in this corner just here. So we'll sort that out in a minute. So I do think I'm going to take the little snowflake and I'm going to cut a couple more, might go 3 out of some sparkly blue. Bit of paper cuts. The paper cuts so beautifully. So in this bottom corner here we're going to have our greeting, so I'm not going to do a snowflake for there, but we'll have another one down here. So we can go mad building these up, because I say we've got half an inch to play with before it reaches the top. So let me find some mini dimensionals. Let's come back in here. Might put a big dimensional on the back of that one. Perhaps just some minis on every other arm. So let's have that about there, and then we've got our little snowflake here. Now we're not going to see the centre of this, so I think actually I'll perhaps just put a big dimensional in the centre there, because that centre is going to be hidden ultimately. So we'll have that going so that the arms come out the other way. And again with this one I'm going to put a large dimensional on. To put a mini dimensional in the middle of this one. And then right on the top there, let's have a, oh, that's got a thin still in there. Let's have a big gem that's going to cover up that dimensional underneath, like that. The little snowflakes will pop around the edge. Got little bits of stray die cut everywhere. Ooh. Stuck to my finger, not to the card. So, where has our card base gone? Just here. So we've got our 14.9 square card base, or a 6-inch card base if you've got a work equally well. Stick that on there. So we've now got a card, but it's also a 3D box. And I'm just going to do that greeting. So let's take our greeting. Just going to wipe its bottom because it's obviously got some embossing powder on it. Now I think with our greeting I am also going to ink that up with Balmy Blue. And I'm also going to take some Highland Heather and just sort of do a bit of spotting of Highland Heather in there. So we've got a bit of a two-tone greeting going on there, and then got so many dies that are waiting to be put away. Now I think that's too deep. Perfect. So I'm going to take a bit of sparkly. I'm going to cut a sparkly, because if you've gone to the trouble of making a box card, you're not going to begrudge them a bit of sparkly labelling. run those through the machine. Glittery one, and a stamped one. We might bring that across on a bit of an angle. Now that looks quite starkly white, so I think the other thing I'm going to do is just take my sponge dauber and we'll come in around the edge and add in a bit of Highland Heather ink. And make sure that that's not sticking over the edge of the card, but it can be sticking over the edge of the frame. Glimmer card is never the easiest thing to stick to, but we've put quite a bit of wet glue on there. Now, just going to put some glue along this corner just here. Take a few of these little sparkles. Perhaps have a big one as well. There we go. So that's really 3D'd. That snowflake would also be quite nice in a little box frame. You could make up a big snowflake in a box frame as well. So 3D snowflake in a box and multi-tonal snowflakes that we've used by inking up our snowflake stamps and then daubing additional colours on the edges. So 2 more cards using your Snowflake Splendor, and as I say, look out for that blog post that will go up later with that arrow card. So thank you for joining me, and I will catch up with you all very, very soon.